Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Been asked by quite a lot of people over a period of time how I find orchid channels, and quite honestly, just using the YouTube search engine and just searching in on things like orchid care and stuff like that, you won't find many channels. You will find an awful lot of videos by the same few people, and those will be the largest channels. That's the way YouTube works. Larger the channel, the more views it gets, the more ads get watched, and the more money YouTube makes. It's a business, that's the way it works. And unfortunately, smaller channels, they would come up on a search if the title matched very, very closely or exactly. That's how they would get on the search list. Otherwise, it's difficult to get in. But just as an example of why I can't, because a lot of people that watch my channel and others as well don't do videos, so wouldn't go near the YouTube studio, the sort of production area where the analytics are and all the different things you do as the person who creates the videos. But this effectively is my subscription list. This is what it looks like when I open it up, and this set of videos here that we're looking at is those that have been posted today in the last 24 hours. Now you can see perhaps why I don't get to watch everybody's videos that I'm subscribed to. It's just not possible. I mean, some of these are incredibly short videos, but nonetheless, you know, there's an amount of time there, 7 minutes. 7 and 6 is 13, 14, 20, 30, 33, 35, 38, oh God, 38, 38 and 30, 68, 73, 75, 80, 88, 92, 102, 114. You can see there's an awful lot of minutes there. I won't say that's a particularly busy day. I think it does yesterday as well as a separate entity. Yeah, so that little set there are yesterday's videos. You might notice the odd one that's not necessarily an orchid video. I do follow this bonsai channel, Peter Chan's Heron Bonsai. Met Peter many times, very nice guy. I follow his channel. But yeah, and then you get down into, you know, the ones for this week. There's pages of them. I can't possibly watch all this lot. It's just not on. I watch selectively, unfortunately, and it means there are probably some very good videos about some very interesting stuff that I never get to see because I didn't actually choose it. And there again we get back to people who look at subscriptions lists. This is what they see, the thumbnail. Does it catch your eye? Now, straight away there's a cat one down there. So that's been watched, as you can see. Watched. It's actually a story of a feral cat that got adopted. Obviously very aggressive and timid towards humans and other cats in the house and everything. And it's just a little video set of the story of this cat being acclimatized and is now in a state where it's friendly enough that you can stroke it and it purrs, and you know, so hey, I've been following that. But the idea of this video and why it's called How to Lose All Your Viewers is that I'm going to go down my list of channels that I'm subscribed to. I'm not going to do it incredibly slowly so that you can write stuff down. At the end of the day, whatever device you are watching this video on has a pause button. So you can pause and make notes or do whatever you choose to do. But it's the only way I can think to do it. And this is not there's no favoritism, it's just a list in the order that YouTube put them on my list. It's roughly alphabetical, but not exactly for some reason or other. So I'm going to see if I can zoom round here, and let's get this. Right, this is actually take 2, because the first equivalent section of this that I filmed, when I got to actually put the video together, the quality was absolutely awful. And I'll show you what happened using the zoom, you see if I zoom in too close, first of all it goes out of focus, so that wouldn't have been any good, but there are points at which lots of wavy lines come on the screen like that, and unfortunately I wasn't watching, and that's how I recorded that section with all these funny coloured lines all over the place, which is not really very watchable and also distracted like that. Yeah, not very good for watching. So I'm trying to get it as good as I can get it. So I'm actually looking at the camera screen now. There's the green funny coloured lines again. I think that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it, and still be able to read it. The text is large enough to read, but the fuzziness, I mean, I'm trying to film a computer screen that's actually it's better there, isn't it, even though the text isn't so big. Difficult. If I zoom in too close, we get the wavy lines on the screen, which is not very watchable. If I get too close, it goes blurred. It's difficult to get a balance. See, that's quite good as far as reading the text is concerned, but you're only going to see a few channels at a time. But I think that's best. Yeah? The idea is that I'm going to scroll through my list, and you'll have to use your pause button on whatever device you're watching this video on to freeze the video, to take notes or do whatever you want to do to, you know, to see these channel names as they go past. There's nothing I can do about this section because this is a YouTube... Whoops, bash the camera, why don't you? I bet that's making it go funny. No, it's not too bad. I would have knocked it off focus, so I got my hand on it. So I got the camera tripod is right in the way of the laptop, and my mouse is right round the other side. I've got my arm round the tripod. Things I do for you lot. But because this is a YouTube generated screen, normally when you've got a section like this, you can grab hold of it and make it bigger so that we could get all the names in, but I can't because it's a YouTube generated screen. So some of the channel names are truncated. Those that I know well, I'll read out as we go down. So it's roughly alphabetical, but not. I think it switches to alphabetical later on, but at the beginning I'm not quite sure why the ones come up at the top. It might be ones I've watched recently, I really don't know. But Bumblebee's Orchids, the channel I follow, I will watch every video that comes up from Bumblebee. They're not that frequent, they're good quality, good orchid collection. It's a channel I like. Desert Plants of Avalon is not an orchid channel. That's mainly cactuses and succulents and things like that. Guitarist, obviously not orchids. Heron's Bonsai, not orchids. That's my friend Peter Chan. John Benedict's, he'll be twice on the list. His original channel that was doing very well. Good orchid collection. I think he's based in Florida area somewhere, but he had a problem with his channel. Something went wrong with it and he couldn't upload anymore, so he had to start a brand new channel from scratch. So obviously he lost all his subscribers, his following and everything. He had to start a new channel, but he's on here twice because his old channel's still there, he just can't use it. So that name will come up twice. YouTube creators, you don't need to know about that. Alexa's Orchids, Anna Florist Orchids, Anna the Swedish Orchid Grower or Orchid Gardener, I think the extension of that is. Archie's Orchids, that's an old channel now. He keeps threatening to come back, but he never does. It was a young lad when I first discovered him, and I've met him quite a few times. He's come to orchid shows where I've been, and at one point he was going to try and learn to be a judge, an RHS judge, but I suspect that fell by the wayside as well. Astrid, many of you will know. Big Box Orchid, that is Beatrix, who donated a lot of her orchids to me, hence the name The Big Box Orchids, and she's named her channel after that sort of thing. Blanca, many of you will know. Brad's Greenhouse, I don't tend to watch that so much myself now because it's hardly ever about orchids, it's about other stuff. in the middle of moving house at the moment. Rather a nice property he's gone to. Talk about a lot of land. Cheery Colours is a new one to me. Karina I've known a long time as far as comments and stuff are concerned, but again it's a channel. Danielle's Orchid Ranch, that one is. And then you've got Danny's Orchid Journey. I don't know that channel very well. It's a relatively new one that I found. Denise Noak I know quite well. Spent an awful long time commenting but not doing videos, and then I think a few people bullied her into it. And then you've got Denzi's Orchid Paradise, I think that is. Digna's Tropicana, I think she's friends with Insa. We've got East Village Girl, that's a new one on me as well. Some of these channels are quite new, and they're new to me on the grounds that people have asked me to go and take a look at their channel or one of their videos. So I've gone across there, and if I've bothered to go to a channel to have a look at something and I've been asked, then I'm highly likely to subscribe to that channel, even though there might not be very many videos there. So that's how they get on the list, basically. Ed's Orchids, most of you will know. Esther's Orchids, that's a relatively new one to me as well. Fernanda I've known for a very, very long time, based in Portugal. Does some good videos. Just rearranged all her property to get her orchids in different places and things. Gabriella Carson, don't know that one very well, but again it's one I know. That one that says gardening and growing, I think that says gardening and growing in orchids in New Zealand, but that's a New Zealand based channel. Gardening at Derwentsa, most people will know that, that's Rachel's channel. Here But Not, that's a new one on me. Jennifer I've known a while, that's John Benedict's other channel that I mentioned. As I say, various others as we go down. Lady Green Thumb's been around quite a while. Lucy the Cat, relatively new at doing videos, but been around in the comment sections for forever. Lynn Brooks, based in Australia, Perth area I think. Lynn Smith, you know, that's chairman of Wessex Orchid Society. Margaret East, from up Midlands, possibly North England, Midlands, somewhere up that way anyway. Mark Denny, that's a photography channel, don't take any notice of that. Martin we would know from the Facebook group. Mary G Orchids, channel's been around a long time. Matthew Polmanta, I don't know that channel very well. Michael Pye, based in Australia I believe, and hasn't done some videos for a while now. Used to do regular videos, and seems to have stopped. It may come back though, you know. Just because somebody's stopped making videos, I'm not going to unsubscribe. Maybe they've had an illness or something and they're going to come back again. So if I unsubscribe, I'll lose them. You know, I won't see their videos if they start making them again, so I just leave them there for an amount of time, not forever. Mixed Mazda Valley, as you would know, relatively, well, not a new channel, but profile is getting better all the time. Miracle Orchids, Anna Maria, did a huge amount of information on Fusarium on her channel. William Green's My Green Pets, you'll know that one. Instigator of several fun activities in the past, including our virtual orchid show that we did a short while back. Various other ones. Orchid Diva's a big channel, does quite a few live broadcasts at large events, shows and things like that. Others here. Orchid Whisperer is a big channel, but stopped. Again, it's another one that I was specifically asked, did I know why? Well, no. You have to bear in mind, I may well follow a channel. Well, that doesn't mean to say I know the person who runs it very well. I'm not a very good communicator as far as, you know, background stuff, doing emails and all that sort of stuff, and messengers on Facebook. I don't do much of that at all. I'm too flipping busy. Orchids and a Duchy, that's an old friend that used to do regular videos with her dog Hugo. Just stopped probably a year or so ago, maybe more. Orchid Dude BCN, another friend, met several times at shows and things, just stopped doing videos. Orchid D, that's quite an up and coming channel. Pipien does 2 or 3 videos a day in several languages, out in the Far East somewhere. Where are we now? Plants and other, I presume that says things, not a channel I know that well, relatively new but getting going. Pop's Orchids I think has stopped now, I'm not so sure, and I don't know why. PYC Orchids, another young lad, I think he got elected president or chairman of his Orchid Society. Unheard of in this country to have somebody that young even on the committee, let alone. But I think he's stopped doing videos now as well. He had a good orchid collection as well. Where are we? Various other stuff. There's Rick's channel there. Effectively a dead channel, unfortunately. I don't think we will see any more videos on that channel, which is sad. We all know why. But a channel that took off like a rocket and achieved great heights in a very short space of time. Rock Doc, relatively new to me, but watchable. And various others. Sharon Short grows mainly outside in the yard and does walks around the yard looking at all the orchids and the other plants. Spencer Aloysius belongs to the same Orchid Society as TD Moore, so they know each other quite well. We haven't seen any videos of them at Orchid Societies or shows together lately, but then they wouldn't be allowed to, would they? Oh, don't be silly, Roger. Yeah, again, some others. TD Moore, that's Terry. Very clever little use of words there, because his channel, I think, used to be just TD Moore. And then he's added Than Just Orchid, so it's now TD More Than Just Orchids, using his surname as the start of the sentence. I like that's clever, playing with words. The Green Nerd, that's Dimitri in Switzerland with his orchid wall. Todd's Tropicals, most of you will know Todd. Very active videos and very active in comment sections on many other channels as well. I don't know where you get the time, Todd. I ain't got that much time. Another relatively new one, Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north, that's the lateral line of the circle around the earth. It gives you an idea of climate, how far north of the equator you are, or south obviously. Wade's Orchids, unfortunately Wade very rarely does videos now, but Wade is a breeder, a hybridizer and a seller, and has a vast orchid grow space. Obviously it's part commercial. It reminds me of a hobby gone mad. But some smashing orchids. What else we got? Insa, most of you will know, and the last one on the list, Zane's Wild Flora. Right, so that's my list. Hopefully it's readable, and as I said, you'll have to use pause buttons and things to see these various things. I'm just going to zoom out again now. Whoops, out, not in. You can tell how often I use my zoom, can't you? Like hardly ever. Just to get back to the whole screen again. Somewhere around there. Oh, that'll have to do. So all I wanted to do was just show why the YouTube search is not necessarily as good as you might think it is. If I just search on orchid care and see what comes up, what's going to happen here is the YouTube algorithms, search algorithms, are going to look at those two separate words or character strings, it doesn't really see them as words, and try and find a match in the title of the video or the first few lines of the description. You can see how much of the description is coming up on the videos, and as far as I'm aware that's about as far into the description that they will go as part of the search algorithm. So I've searched in on orchid care, and the first three on the list are Miss Orchid Girl. Now let's have a look why. Well, the first one here is called Orchid Care for Beginners. That's an exact match. Yeah? What else is relevant? Well, it's had 731,000 views. That puts it high on the list. Yeah? It's also a monetized channel. They're always going to go above non-monetized channels on the list because there's a potential for an ad being watched or adverts being watched, which makes YouTube money. It's a business. So basically these have come up. If you get down to the third one, let's get it up nearer the top, this one, how I repot Oncidium orchids, the word care is not there. It's not there at all, but the word orchid is. So it's a partial match. But why else might it be there? Well, it might be there because it's had 29,000 views. It might also be there because that channel has got over 200,000 subscribers. So it's not just the words, it's what's going on as well. That's a channel I've never heard of, Miss Orchid Girl again. That's a gardening channel that seems to have done something on orchids, probably just a one. See, that could be a one-off video in amongst a gardening channel where somebody's asked for some orchid care tips and they've done one video. I might be wrong, but you see what I'm getting at. Miss Orchid Girl again. It's another channel I've never heard of. Another one that I've never heard of. See, that channel is called Classy Flowers. It may well not be an orchid channel, but it's done a couple of orchid videos in amongst many others. Yeah, but also that video is 5 years old. They might not even be making videos anymore. So you can see how the list is not often as useful as you think it might be. Now that's good, because this is not a big channel. It's not monetized. It's tropical plants at 53 degrees, but it's got the word care in it and the word orchid. So it's come up on the list. Yeah? So even though that's a relatively small channel compared with the others we were looking at, it's still managed to get on that list. And those were the things that it's thought were exact matches, and now it's come things related to your search. So this is things it thinks might be close enough to be of interest, and so it goes on. One of Brad's there, but it's got orchid care in the title, so why they think this is related and not an exact match I really don't know. It's called Easy Orchid Care, come on guys. It's also had 1.3 million views, that video, and it's 6 years old. You see where I'm going? Not even necessarily new videos. They could be channels that have long since died. No, that one hasn't, obviously, but you see where I'm coming from. Miss Orchid Girl is coming up here over and over again, and in amongst my list is Heron's Bonsai that doesn't have the word orchid or the word care in it. Now, why the hell's that come up then? It's not an exact thing. It's not an exact science, this thing. Okay, but getting a high hit. Miss Orchid Girl, Brad's Greenhouse has come up quite a few times. Orchid Diva's getting on the list now. There's some oddities in here that I've never heard of, which I could go and investigate at the time. Michael's Orchids, it's a channel I watched for a while and then decided I didn't like it, so I don't watch that one anymore. Lots do though. Quite a popular channel and gets some quite high views, so you know, somebody likes it. That's coming up. Orchid Diva again. Oh, Just Add Ice has come up. Oh no, you don't. It's funny actually. I had a comment from somebody in South Africa that lives in Cape Town, runs a channel but doesn't post many videos. But it was commenting on my Disa video I did quite a while ago. I think I was repotting them or doing something. Said that they're almost impossible to grow in Cape Town where he lives, and I had a very puzzled look on my face, because that's only a stone's throw from where Disas grow in the wild on Table Mountain. But unfortunately, to get from Cape Town, like down here, to where the Disas are, you've got to do a lot of that. You're climbing, and as you climb it cools, obviously. So down in the civilised part of that part of South Africa, it's right down on the very tip basically, apparently Disas are almost impossible to grow because of the climate, and yet not that far away they grow in the wild. But where they grow in the wild is quite high up, and they grow with their feet in water seepage areas or streams, often running water, and that water's just come down off the top of the mountain. It's cold, very cold, so they do have a very specific requirement, Disas. But yeah, it seemed odd for somebody to say it's almost impossible to grow Disas. I live in Cape Town, sort of thing. As long as you're not out collecting them in the wild. But he actually made the comment, it's one of the few times and the only orchid he knows where Just Add Ice actually works. It keeps the roots cool of a plant that must have its roots cool. So adding ice to Deesas is not such a daft idea. Yeah, but you see what I'm getting at? You know, I mean, so far I'm going down this list. We've been going a while. There's a Rachel. Oh, was it listening to me? Can it hear me? It's just Rachel's video on Deesas has just come up as we were talking about Deesas, and Deesas got nothing to do with this search. But you can see how if I was trying to find some new channels, this list is going on and on and on. And how many new channels would I have found so far? Not that many. And I would suspect if I looked at some of these, they're old channels that are no longer productive. Yeah. So it's not the easiest way to go about trying to find orchid channels. I often find that a better way is am I going to show anything I shouldn't do? He holds his breath. These are my current comments, some of which I haven't, or one of which I haven't responded to. Now this on my channel is quite a good way to find channels. When somebody leaves a comment, yeah, now a lot of these people won't have a channel. If Tess Campbell I know quite well, that name comes up quite often. If I open that in another link, it'll probably just be yeah, it's got no content. All it's got is a list of people that this person is actually subscribed to. Recognise the list? But you see what I'm getting at? You can go and check names out against your own channel, but then if you don't get too many people commenting, that's there's Lynn Brooks, I mentioned that one down in Australia, so that is a comment on one of my videos. But if I open it up, that's Lynn's channel, and obviously she creates quite a few videos, and again it's a relatively small channel, 250 odd subscribers, so can't be monetized. You've got to get to 1,000 before you can even think about monetizing, and that helps you get up the list, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, I do find channels occasionally via this route, you know, just by literally clicking on some names. That's a name I don't know. That's somebody new. Well, starting to comment recently, let's call it that. Again, that's what I call a dead channel. It's somebody who's set up a channel to be able to leave comments and join in, but doesn't do anything as far as YouTube activity is concerned, apart from watch videos and leave comments and join in. That's what it's all about. Yeah, there's some names come up that, I mean, there's a name there. I don't know that name very well at all. I expect that'll just be some created playlists, but not really an active channel. But yeah, that is one way of. I mean, that's Patricia's Orchids. That has all the hallmarks of having some videos, but it might not. Yeah, you have to go and look. So yes, there are some videos there, not many, and there's one relatively new. See that, but basically it's a person who did a video 6 months ago and then didn't do anything for ages, and then seems to have just started again recently in the last few weeks. So you can get a little bit of information from looking at a channel. That's somebody that's appeared recently in the comments. So we've got some uploads, so there are a few videos, not necessarily orchids, but not many, just a few, and they're quite old, 1 year, 2 years, playlists and various things. Playlists is just a way of collecting stuff together, basically, so you don't have to go and find it all the time. I think Michael does videos, Michael McCarthy, you would know him from the Facebook group. Oh, I thought he did videos, perhaps not. I was getting him muddled up with somebody else. Insa we obviously know, so you know, if I selected his name it would go to his channel, and his subscribers have coming on, heading towards 400. Obviously a pretty regular poster, lovely wildlife walks, native orchids, you know, various things. Some gorgeous scenery not far from where he lives. His cat gets in on the act sometimes. Pip, I think it's called. And basically an orchid channel, you know, with a few other things now and again. But yeah, so that search is not that easy to use. But you've now got my list of orchids that I'm subscribed to. It's not that list used to have around 300 channels on it, but many of them weren't in English. I used to do the search mechanism quite frequently, and anything that had orchids on the channel I would subscribe to it. But then I found I was never watching the videos because I didn't understand the language. So a while back I went through and did a night of the long knives. Many of the older channels that don't produce videos anymore were chopped off, unless I thought of them as friends and hoped they would come back. And some of the smaller channels that posted once in a blue moon I unsubscribed because my list was too big. That's what it came down to. Each day when I come into here, you know, if that's 2 or 3 pages worth of videos, I'm not going to want to even look through it to find the ones that I want to watch because it was just too much, too big. So I've reduced it right down now. And I mean, literally in the last 24 hours, Terry, TD Moore, he's done a live stream. He does that quite often. The Tropical Plants has done a video, 53 degrees north. There's a couple of others in here that I don't know very well at all. Pippion's done 1, 2, 3 on the trot there, one after the other. They're probably, well, 2 of them are probably the same video with a language difference. So Spencer Aloysius, Lady Green Thumb, Ed's Orchids. Ed's done a video recently. Desert Plants of Avalon, that's not an orchid channel, but I do watch that now and again. Miracle Orchids, Anna Maria, she's done one. And she doesn't post very often. Todd's done one. So yeah, I mean, just in this list here, there's probably 4, maybe 5, possibly 6 that I would try and watch. And I can't guarantee I'm going to watch every minute of each of those videos. It would depend if it's about something that's holding my interest. Quite honestly, just a sequence of pretty blooms is probably not going to hold my interest that much. I do like some words to go with it, if you know what I mean. But each to their own. Everybody has different tastes and likes different things for many different reasons. So that's my subscribers list. Do with it as you choose. But I will make a plea. Please don't all run away and not come back again. Just remember where you got the list from. And return to sender, as they say. And I hope to see you in the next video. I hope the information is useful for you and you find some things that you like at the other end of that list. That's all I'm hoping. And in addition, it will mean those people at the other end of that list can get some new subscribers, which is always appreciated when you're running your own channel. So hopefully this is my good deed for the day. Now I'm not doing any more. I'm only allowed one. See you next time.